Ethan had always been drawn to the unknown. An avid writer of horror stories, he often sought inspiration in the strangest of places. That's how he found himself standing before the towering ruins of an old Victorian mansion on the outskirts of town. The mansion, known as Ravenwood Manor, had been abandoned for over a century. Legends whispered of a young woman who had died there, her soul forever trapped within its crumbling walls. But Ethan didn't believe in ghosts, at least, not yet. Determined to uncover the truth, he stepped inside. The air was thick with dust, the scent of old wood and decay wrapping around him. Moonlight filtered through shattered windows, casting eerie shadows on the floor. The silence was deafening, save for the occasional creak of the house settling into the earth. Then, he heard a whisper, soft, melodic, calling his name. Ethan. He froze, his breath hitching in his throat. His heart pounded as he scanned the empty hallway. "Who's there?" he called out, his voice steady despite the fear creeping up his spine. No answer, and then, from the darkness, she emerged. She was breathtaking, dressed in a flowing white gown, her raven black hair cascading over her shoulders. Her skin was as pale as the moon, her eyes a haunting shade of blue. "I have been waiting for you," she whispered, stepping closer. Ethan wanted to run, but something about her held him captive. "Who are you?" "My name is Isabella Ravenswood," she said, sorrow lacing her words. "And this was my home, long ago." His mind struggled to process what he was seeing. A ghost. A real ghost. You're dead." A sad smile touched her lips. "Yes. And yet, here I am." Isabella led him through the house, her presence both chilling and mesmerizing. She spoke of the past, of how she had been engaged to a man she did not love. Her heart had belonged to another, a stable boy named Lucas. When her father discovered their secret meetings, he had locked
her away in the attic, forbidding her from ever seeing Lucas again. "But Lucas promised to wait for me," Isabella said, her voice breaking. "We planned to run away together, but my father, he found out. And on the night of our escape, she paused, pain flashing across her face. "He killed him," Ethan finished softly. She nodded. "And when I found out, she placed a hand over her chest, as if feeling a phantom pain. I couldn't bear it. I took my own life." Ethan's heart ached for her. Though she was a spirit, her pain felt real. "I have been trapped here ever since," Isabella whispered. "Bound to this house. To my sorrow." Days turned into weeks, and Ethan found himself returning to Ravenwood Manor every night. His fear had melted away, replaced by something far more dangerous, love. Isabella was unlike anyone he had ever met. She was witty, intelligent, and kind. They talked for hours, sharing stories of their lives, one of the past, the other of the present, but as their love deepened, so did the curse that bound her. The more Ethan loved her, the more her spirit seemed to fade. "You cannot stay," she told him one night, tears shimmering in her ghostly eyes. "If you love me, you must let me go." "But I don't want to," Ethan argued. "There must be a way to free you." Isabella hesitated, then whispered, "There is one way." Ethan listened as Isabella explained the ritual, a forbidden ceremony that could bind their souls together. "But there was a cost. For me to be free," she said, "you must take my place." His breath caught. "You mean, I would to die?" She nodded, agony in her gaze. "I cannot ask this of you." Ethan was silent for a long moment. Then, he cupped her ghostly face. "I would rather die with you than live without you." Tears slipped down Isabella's cheeks, disappearing before they hit the floor. "Then meet me at midnight, in the attic." The attic was exactly as she had described, a forgotten place of sorrow and secrets. She stood in the center, bathed in moonlight. Ethan stepped forward, his heartbeat steady. "Are you certain?" she asked one last time. "Yes." She whispered the incantation, and suddenly, a cold wind howled through the room. Shadows danced, and Ethan felt his soul being pulled from his body. For a brief moment, he saw everything, his past, his present, his future. Then, darkness. When Ethan opened his eyes, he was no longer in his own body. He was light. A spirit, and beside him, Isabella smiled through her tears. "We are together," she whispered, reaching for his hand. He took it, his fingers no longer flesh but mist. The mansion faded around them, the curse finally broken. Hand in hand, they stepped into eternity, leaving behind the world of the living, together. And so, the legend of Ravenwood Manor changed forever. No longer a tale of sorrow, but of a love that transcended death itself.